Today I'm going to be creating an amazing dish by bringing together cowpeas leaves and tripe, and it's going to be totally worth it because the fusion of all the flavors from these two dishes or these two ingredients, they're going to make a very awesome and delicious dish. So this is a Kenyan recipe which is widely enjoyed throughout Kenya because cowpeas leaves or konde is very popular, and of course matumbo, you can get matumbo anywhere you are. And creating this dish needs some time, but trust me, the effort is going to be totally worth it. In this episode, I'm going to be making two dishes which are going to turn out amazing. So hope you'll be following up so that we can create this delicious lunch. So I'm going to start off by boiling some tripe or matumbo. This is mutton tripe and it's 3/4 kg, which I'm going to be using for this recipe. I've already washed the intestines and the rest of the tripe, so it's clean and ready to boil. So I'm going to move over to one burner, place a pressure cooker. I want to boil my tripe until it's tender, although mutton tripe is not too tough, but still need the tripe to be soft. So I'm going to add in half a cup of water because as you wash the matumbo or tripe, it will soak in some water. Transfer in my tripe, and then I'm going to cover and boil for around 3 to 4 whistles. As my tripe is cooking or matumbo, I'm going to be prepping up my kunde or cowpeas leaves, and it's going to be a little bit tedious, but within a short period of time I'm going to pluck all the leaves from the stalk. I've already done some kunde over here because I want the video not to be too long. So I'm going to keep the rest of the ingredients aside because the kunde has soil. Then I'm going to pluck out the tiny leaves from the stalk. I grew up eating lots of kunde because my mom used to love cooking kunde, especially with matumbo. Let me tell you, that would be my favorite meal of the day. If I happen to come from school and find out that my mom has cooked some kunde together with matumbo. Yeah. So today I'm going to be showing you a very easy recipe, which is going to turn out mouth-watering as always. So when done removing the leaves from the stalk, you're going to wash the leaves under running water for around 2 to 3 times. This is to get rid of any soil in the leaves. Yeah, because you don't want to bite into any soil while enjoying your kunde and matumbo. It's been around 5 whistles and my matumbo is ready. So I'm going to put out the flames and let the matumbo cool in the pressure cooker. Now, my cowpeas leaves or kunde is nicely washed and clean. So the next step, I'm going to be chopping up to reduce the size of the kunde. So I'm going to pick a sharp knife and my chopping board. Then I'm going to get a handful of kunde, squeeze out the excess water, and then I'm going to chop up. If you're probably wondering why I've kept a wet kitchen towel under my chopping board, it's so that the chopping board can be steady while I chop up my kunde. So I'm done chopping up my kunde. This is my last handful of kunde. So I'm going to squeeze out the excess water and slice my kunde into medium sizes. It doesn't have to be small pieces because we are going to be boiling our kunde and they're going to wilt down. So once I'm done, I'm going to transfer to the rest. Then I'm going to clean my working surface so that we can move on to the next step, which is boiling our kunde. So I'm going to pick a pan, and over medium high flame I'm going to add in my kunde. Add in 1 cup of water, and then using a spatula I'm going to spread my kunde in my pan. And to tenderize my kunde, I'm going to be adding in monyo. This is a tablespoon of monyo. So monyo is a traditional tenderizer that is made by drying out banana leaves or bean stalks. Then you burn the stalks or peels, and when you get the ash, you add water, filter out the water, and then you get the product, the byproduct, which is monyo. So if you can't get hold of monyo, you can simply add in bicarbonate of soda by adding in a 1/4 teaspoon to 1/2 teaspoon, depending on the amount of kunde that you are going to be cooking. So using my spatula, I'm going to stir in the kunde and cook for around 3 to 5 minutes. So as the kunde is cooking, it's going to wilt down. I'm going to use my spatula and remove the remaining pressure from the cooker, and then I'm going to open, which is going to be very safe. Check out my matumbo, and this is how it's looking. Don't overboil your kunde because it's going to lose that nice green color. So I'm going to be boiling mine for another 2 minutes. So I'm going to be chopping up the rest of the ingredients, which is tomatoes, onions. So I'm going to cut off the ends of my onion. This is 1 large onion. And then I'm going to remove the skin. When done chopping up my onion, I'm going to check on my kunde. And it's well cooked or well boiled. So I'm going to use a slotted spoon and scoop out my kunde into a bowl. So the next step is to cook my kunde together with matumbo. So I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. My matumbo was not fatty, so that's the reason I'm adding in 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. And I'm going to be using the same pot that I used to boil my kunde. So add in my onions and cook the onions until they have a lovely golden brown color. So I'm going to stir in. I have my kunde over here and matumbo ready to create this delicious dish. So using my sharp knife, I'm going to cut my tomato into strips and dice. And at this point, I'm going to be placing another pot over high flame and add in 4 cups of water. I'm going to be making some soft ugali to enjoy my delicious kunde together with matumbo. Browning the onions equals to flavor. So next, I'm going to add in tomatoes. Stir in the tomatoes, and to add in some more flavor, I'm going to be adding in 2 beef seasoning cubes. You can substitute with some salt, but I love the flavor that the seasoning cubes add to food. Or you can substitute with some vegetable seasoning cubes. Yeah. Stir in the seasoning and wait for around a minute so that the tomatoes can cook down. I have some maize flour over here for making my ugali, and this is the posho maize flour. I absolutely love making my ugali with posho maize flour because the outcome is always very delicious. So this is 3 cups of maize flour. My water is almost coming to a boil and I'm multitasking, but I'm enjoying each and every step. Yeah. Check on my tomatoes because I don't want the tomatoes to burn. and the aroma in the kitchen right now is so good. So as the tomatoes are cooking down, I'm going to be adding in my parboiled matumbo, very tender. Let's not forget that. Stir in and let the tomatoes and matumbo cook together. So what will happen is the matumbo is going to soak in the nice flavors from the beef seasoning cubes. And because beef seasoning cubes contain salt, I'm going to wait for everything to cook and then I'm going to check the seasoning. If it's not perfect, I'm going to be adding in some more salt. For this recipe, I've used both the intestines and the stomach, so I have different textures in my kunde when it's finally cooked. My water is almost coming to a boil, so I'm going to scoop out or reserve a cup of the water or half a cup. Then I'm going to be adding in my flour. Before I add in my flour, I'm going to add in my kunde to my pan. Remember, we are multitasking. So be careful because you don't want to burn your kunde. Place aside, and then using my spatula, I'm going to stir in the kunde and let everything cook for around a minute so that I can check the seasoning. The kitchen right now is smelling so good, so yum. So I'm going to add in my flour to my pot. Then using my spatula, I'm going to stir in the flour into the water until it's fully combined, making sure to get rid of any lumps in my ugali. So this step is very crucial because you have volcano bubbles bubbling from your ugali. So be careful because you don't want to burn yourself. I'm going to use the back of my spatula and get rid of any lumps. I'm looking for some soft ugali, so I'm going to add my flour in intervals until I get the perfect texture for my ugali. Check on my kunde, which is perfectly cooking together with matumbo. Check the seasoning. I need some more salt. I'm going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and stir in. And after cooking my kunde for around 2 more minutes, my kunde is ready and it's looking so delicious. It's flavorful and yeah, can't wait to have my lunch. So I'm going to put out the flames, check on my ugali. So you're going to cook your ugali for around 3 to 6 minutes. Make sure you flip the ugali so that it can cook on all sides. And after 5 minutes, my ugali is ready and the kitchen is smelling so good. You know how when you cook ugali, you can catch a very nice smoky flavor from cooking ugali? Yeah, that is what is happening in the kitchen right now. So that means that my ugali is ready. So I'm going to use the back of my spatula and mold my ugali. Then I'm going to transfer to a plate, ready for plating. Using a knife, I'm going to cut into my ugali. Get my ugali and my delicious kunde cooked together with matumbo. So this is the best way to enjoy some kunde cooked together with matumbo, or you can switch it up by adding some chapati instead of ugali, and it's going to be delicious. Hope you'll be giving this recipe a try and enjoy all the nice flavors, and it will be totally worth it.